Hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. This is Ragnar. I'm so glad you could join me today. I have been doing a smidge of work off camera, just to get the details kind of squared away on our base here, or rather the hangar bay. So yeah, this is what it looks like. As you can see, we added quite a large window there. Same on the other side. I like it. It breaks up the kind of plain slanty bit that we had on the sides there that was really just there to seal the station in. I added these lights, just trying to get the light to proliferate a bit more widely across the floor here. But we still have this issue in the center, which I'm not the most pleased with. And I'm reluctant to start putting spotlights up there. We really need more lighting options, I think, in the game. But we'll work with what we've got. I probably will end up adding spotlights up there, but I haven't quite pulled the trigger on it yet. At least not in accepting that that's what it's going to look like. So, yeah, so we did this detail work. We added in a bunch of orange highlights. And we'll take a peek really quick what it looks like from the outside. Let's just make sure we don't pressurize the station, or depressurize rather the station. Alright, and I did a little bit of shaping around the doors there. I kind of like that. I do think that this kind of, it breaks up the pattern, like I was saying, in a relatively pleasant way. Still kind of have these big flat areas, which they're not my favorite. They need a little bit more something something. I'm not sure quite what that something something is yet. But I moved the lights here on the sides of the doors. That lights up pretty well. You can see it better when the sun is on the other side of the earth, but for now we are enjoying the sunlight, basking if you will. And yeah, so the detail work has come a long ways on the outside of the ship here. Yeah, and I'm liking it. I'm liking where it's going. So let's take a run back inside, and we can start talking about what is on the mission docket for today. Oh, also I added a little bit of a storage container here, which gives us access, and it is hooked up via conveyor to the main system, so it gives us access to all the components and whatnot that we'll need. And that was in preparation for what we're going to be doing today. So let's go check this thing out I've got here. We have a mission objective board, and you can see there I want to design and construct our first mining ship. So starting off, we'll assemble the main internal systems. That is the storage, that's our reactors, our gyroscopes, obviously the cockpit, and oxygen generator, so on and so forth. So we'll be putting that all together, and once that stuff is in place, then we can kind of locate and start tinkering with a drill bit design, which I'm excited about this one because I've never done something quite like this before. That is to say, a rotating drill assembly. And one of the great things about the rotating drill assembly, as probably quite a few of you are aware, is that we can have a bunch of drill bits that rotate about a center point, and that'll drill out a big circular hole as big as, as wide as we make it. But we are limited in our size because I do want to be able to fit this ship back into the station, which means it has to fit between the bay doors there. So that is our main limitation there. Also with the size of the ship, we want to have a lot of storage because we're never going to be, flying this out in any sort of significant gravity field. And we're going to be kind of stuck with that because I do want to have pure ion propulsion for this thing as well, because once you get into any sort of gravity field, the propulsion is significantly lower than anything that you would get with the hydrogen or with the atmospheric thrusters. But this ship will never be going down to a planet or anything. This will be purely our orbital spaceship for collecting all of our materials and bringing them back to our station for processing. So, it's going to be interesting. I have tinkered a smidge, just a smidge, on a creative world, just to make sure that I could kind of get the ins and outs of how one goes about creating this thing or dealing with the rotors themselves. So there are a few tricky bits about it. Primarily the issue that I found I was having difficulty with, you will see before too long here, is that pardon me, the center of mass on the ship, the small ship part, like let's look at this guy just for example. So imagine we cut off the nose of this ship and then we put a big advanced rotor on the front and a big crossbar with a bunch of drill heads going across the front. Everything on one side of the advanced rotor has its own center of mass, and everything on the back side has its own center of mass, and I don't think that it really links the two up. It's a very strange phenomenon. And that is to say, it's almost like the drill assembly itself weighs far, far more than the rest of the ship, and I'm not sure if that's really going to change. That is to say, you know, does the center of mass of the rear part of the ship change its location relative to where the storage containers are, which it should, you know, in real life if this were real life, but it's a video game. So yeah, that's a little bit of a thing, and I'll kind of show you what I'm getting at here once we get a little bit into the build. But for starters, I am going to be building the internal systems. We'll get all that stuff in place, and then I'll bring you back and show you what I've got. Alright guys, we're back. Just filling up my hydrogen stores. As you can see, we're flying around. I did shut off the gravity generator for the time being because this doesn't have thrusters or landing gear on it yet, but this is the basic design. You can see we've got 7 drills on the front here. They're laid out in kind of a funky fashion, but it kind of proceeds through material, I'm thinking, in a way similar to an actual like steel drill bit in the real world would. But so we've got these drills. Most of them, or these 4 lower ones, are all hooked up to the conveyor system via this central conveyor sorter connector thingamajig. And then it goes through the rotor. There's another conveyor sorter that hooks up our cockpit with the main system. And we have our little tiny reactors here. I ended up going with the tiny reactors just for the sake of space. Because I couldn't really find a place on the body of the ship where it wasn't going to be kind of obstructive to what I had in mind. We have our oxygen generator, and we've got 2 very large storage containers here too. I'm hoping that with the space that we have for the thrusters and whatnot, that we'll be able to move this ship around relatively well, even with those entirely full. We've got our gyroscopes here. I'm hoping that's going to give us some good control, but we will see how that works out. And oh, what am I missing here? I need more large steel tubes. All right. Well, that aside, we have kind of worked out a little bit of a conveyor system here. This should hook all of our guys up to the main system, and none of the drills will be feeding through other drills, so I'm hoping that we're not going to have any sort of a flow issue unless there turns out to be one with this conveyor junction. So this is the basic layout. We have a connector down there on the bottom as well, which will need landing gear to come down and be approximately, well, either lower or at the same level. So we'll do something along those lines. And I don't know about this yellow color. Maybe that'll... Yeah, it's just... With the machines, like on the blocks, the textures are cool. They're intricate. And, you know, they've got a little bit of dirt and grime and wear on them. The textures of these guys, though, they're so smooth. A little too smooth, in my opinion. but yeah, this is the basic layout. We'll do a little bit of detail work obviously here to kind of make this all feel solidly connected so it's not fragile. And one thing that I didn't really love about these two heads here, well, they will form, or rather function to open up our tunnel that we're drilling a little bit wider, which will give us a little bit more leeway on the back end of the ship. The OCD part of me doesn't like them both being on the top because I would like them to both be cutting kind of in the same direction, you know, as the drill passes past the material. I would like them to both be climb cutting, as they would say in machinist terms, but that's, you know, minor detail. And obviously this needs to be fleshed out quite a bit. This is just the basic systems, so everything is going to be functional. I think we have everything that we need other than obviously thrusters and landing gear, and fleshing out the shape of the ship as it will be for the long term. So I'm going to tinker a bit with this drill bit here. That is to say, the whole thing's a drill bit, not just the one. But we'll flesh out the drill bit a little bit more, make it feel strong, make it feel connected, and hook up all of the conveyors and get everything functioning well. And we'll throw some thrusters on, throw some landing gear, and then we'll take her out for a little test flight, and we'll see where the problems lie with our ship. Okay, you guys ready for this? Yeah. I am really liking this. It's coming out pretty nice, I think. We definitely fleshed out the drill. It looks like it would actually hold together under the forces that it would experience, crushing up all that stone. I've got a ton of thrusters on here. This may not be the permanent setup here with the thrusters, but I wanted to get something together so that we could at least test it out. And that's the plan here right now, so I hope you guys like the color too. I rifled through the different colors and I settled on this one. It's very dingy and beat up looking, and you know I love that. So let's close up this door. We'll throw on our helmet and we'll evacuate the cargo bay here. Alright. So, first test flight. Let's see how she does. Yeah. Let's pull up the inventory really quick here. Control panel. I'm looking for these. Now, they're orange. Reminiscent of what you see on your control panel when you land a ship, or hook up a connector, rather. So I think that's what they're getting at. Is I do have 4 gyroscopes. You can see them right there on the drill aperture itself, and the intention there is to maybe mitigate some of this issue that you're gonna see here. Oop, hang on. That you're gonna see here right quick. We'll shut those off for now, just so we can get a impartial test. And let's fire up those guys. Our regular gyros are on. I believe we should be okay. We're gonna have to be real careful backing out of here though. And already you can see, can you see the ship tilting ever so slightly? Oh. What's up, guys? Hang on. Alright, let's not be foolish about this. Let's pull it in. Pull it in and we'll turn it around. I really am not interested in crashing this ship. I just built it. But if you notice, see the thrusters on the right side? They're all reacting. That's not normally the case with another ship. Sorry, I'm hitting buttons here that I'm not trying to hit. So it looks like we've got just enough clearance to get through. Careful, jeez. Maybe we should call in a test pilot, because clearly I can't handle this. Alright, alright. We're out. So, what I want to show you is check out the up thrust. So we're just going to fire the upward thrusters and watch how the ship rotates. And then it rotates back. That is that issue that I've been talking about. Now let's try, and we'll turn on those gyroscopes on the drill aperture itself. See if that helps at all. No, it's really not. Are these turned up all the way? I got 100% power. Yeah, I don't want to mess with these because that'll be giving us a constant input of rotational inertia. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do with this. I mean, there is the option of putting thrusters on the drill bit itself, but the problem is when we get it rotating and we're trying to park it back in its home position, I don't have a way to lock it up with the ship. That is to say, there's no home position that you can like program in. Now let's just look really quick. Advanced rotor. So we got safety lock speed. We have torque, braking, velocity, lower limit, upper limit, rotor displacement. That just moves it in and out. Yeah, I wish that there was a setting here. So the current angle is 359. I wish we could set it for like a home position, like 360 degrees. Obviously it's cocked off to the side a little bit. But yeah, upper angular limit, lower angular limit. We want to leave those at unlimited because we're going to be rotating. And then let's just try this out. I'm going to go for 4 RPM and see how that works. So let's fire it up. There's our drills. Everything's functioning, that's good. Oh, but you can see we're translating some rotational inertia to the ship, which is not ideal. What we could do is we can set up our gyroscopes to override that rotation. Let's just see if we can do something really quick here. So this, and this. Oh, that's interesting. We stopped rotating as soon as I turned this on. So we have yaw, pitch, and roll. I wonder if those orient automatically to the way that your cockpit is pointing. So let's try this. No, that's... I believe that is yaw. So roll... Yeah, roll I think is what we want to negate. Are we doing it? No. Oh boy. Pitch. Well, we don't seem to be rotating, but it's giving us a downward momentum? I don't know. This is a little on the complicated side, so maybe I should cut here and tinker around with it a little bit. Yeah. Whoa. It can't be pitch. It's gotta be roll. Alright, how about this? Let's shut off the drills. Okay. Now, let's just see what these do without the influence of the rotating assembly. So that's yaw. Right, so that's our left to right. And apparently with that engaged, I can't actually rotate it. See, this is all very strange to me. It's not functioning in the way that I would expect it to. And that's confusing. So if we put roll, see what I mean? Why are we shouldn't be moving up and to the left. Like the gyroscope should be located in or rotating about the XYZ and not causing this sort of strange rotation. Alright, so I'm gonna make a quick cut here and I'm gonna play around with this a bit. We're gonna see if we can get it figured out, and I will bring you right back. And we're back. Just taking a peek here. You can see we are just about through the last of our cobalt, which is the last of the material that I have that requires refining, which is exciting news because we are officially ready to go out and get some more stuff. But I do have to say, and this is something that I tried to stop because I just wanted to finish this episode first, but you might notice that everything looks different. Yeah. So Space Engineers has updated. One thing that I found a little disappointing was that I was unable to stop the update so that I could finish the episode. These always take me a few days at least to record and to get all the building done, but everything has been retextured. Like this door looks completely different. These blocks are all retextured. You can see that our flight seat actually kind of looks like a gaming chair now. And some of these textures are really awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like them. I just wanted to wait until next episode to start talking about them, but the refineries in particular look pretty darn cool. But anyway, let's go check out the mining ship. So it's quite a bit different. I've done a lot of work, and I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. We do need a name for this guy, and I am, of course, as always, open to suggestions, but this is her. I think that it looks pretty cool. I really like that color. My only complaint is that it looks better up close. You know, what are your thoughts? You can see these little gray lines. They really stand out at a distance, which I think kind of confuses the color of the ship a little bit. It might look best if everything that you were building was gray, but I don't want to stick to gray. Who wants to stick to gray? Oh yeah, these are the new ion thrusters. Look at that design. That is so cool. And the detail, I love the detail up close. Little scratches everywhere. But we have multiple more reactors that I've added on. Got a large ion thruster back here. I did move the oxygen generator off of the top just to kind of keep the ship looking a little bit more sleek, but it still has that nice, like, chunky industrial look, and it looks very much war-torn, which is something I definitely prefer. Also, check out the textures on these drills. Aren't those cool? I was just talking earlier in the episode about how the machinery textures were very bland, very plain, very smooth. And lo and behold, they updated the textures, and everything looks amazing. Even these drill heads look like legit stone-crushing drill bits, which is awesome. But let's get ready here. I want to take the ship out, and we're going to give it a little bit of a test and see if we can collect them some material and keep those refineries running. Let's throw our helmet on. Let's open the door. And yeah, so I did do some testing. I figured out what was going on, or rather, it's not that I figured out what was going on. There's obviously an issue with the physics in the center of mass when you have something attached, a large piece of machinery via the advanced rotor, but we are okay as it stands. And the reason is these little side pods that you see here to the left and the right, or top and bottom from our perspective of the cockpit, those are absolutely packed with gyroscopes. I did think that it would be kind of cool to do something a little bit more intricate. I was considering just adding a large flywheel basically to the back of the ship, but then I thought it would kind of look a little bit silly. But you can see here, we're having no problem now, just accelerating out backwards. Nice and straight. There's no funky rotation going on. And this is exactly what I was hoping for. So yeah, I've got everything set up here. The primary gyroscopes you see right there on the back of the cockpit, those are the ones that are active all the time when we're flying around navigating and such. The ones that are in these side pods behind these, the 3 ion thrusters you see here right in front of you, those are only active when I turn on the drill assembly. We've got a lock here on our number 2 slot that I can turn on and off. So you see when it's locked, the rotor head stays in position relative to the rest of the ship. And when I unlock it, it's free to rotate. And then we can fire everything up. And you can see, there we go. Everything's rotating. Our ship is nice and stable, which is ideal. So let's just turn that off. And we'll go find some material to mine. Here, hang on. There we go. Right here. So yeah, I want to get some more uranium just for the test run. And you can see, I don't know if you can tell how much of the textures have changed here, but even the background space, it looks beautiful. Like this is all, you know, large gaseous clouds. It looks very galactic, if you will. I'm not sure what kind of galaxy we're in. We're definitely not in a spiral galaxy. Because, ooh, what's that dark spot? I do hope they add black holes at some point in the game. That would be sweet. But I'm getting sidetracked here. Yeah, so we have a uranium deposit right over here. I want to check that out. Let's just be careful not to crash into this thing. And yeah, what I want to do is I want to load this ship right up to the brim. And we will be processing uranium for days. And that is going to be awesome. I'm pretty sure that's uranium. I'm just going to hop out and check really quick. Please don't judge me for not having an ore detector on the ship. Oh yeah, the new drill here. You see that? Yep, uranium right there. Alright, we'll turn that crap back off. Jump back in our ship. Let's unlock the drill aperture. That was weird that it rotated like that. Turn her on. And we are rotating. This is the deposit that I wanted to do, right? Right? Yeah. Alright. Alright. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. Ideally, we would be starting from a flat surface, but that's not really an option here. And also, I don't know if you can tell, the ship is quite twitchy. That is because we are running, well, let's look in the control panel here. We are running this many gyroscopes right now. And I think that's it. Oh, wait, no. So we got 1 through 6 down here. Those are the primaries, and the secondary gyroscopes are many. There's like 12 or 14. I don't actually remember exactly how many. I basically just packed them in there until the ship was stable. But yeah, it is rather twitchy, so I gotta be careful on the old mouse here. And let's just get a side view so we can see how close we are. Yes, ideally, the right way to approach this would be on a flat surface. You know what? Maybe we'll give that a. We can find a better position here. Alright, hang on. Don't judge me. I'm not a real pilot. Let's bring it in nice and slow. I don't want to have anything bad happen. I've got many days into this build, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out, so I don't want to be wrecking anything. I want a nice, smooth drill operation. I want to go home with lots of materials, and that will make me quite happy. So yeah, one of the things about... Oh, there we go, we got contact. One of the issues with approaching and trying to drill on a surface that isn't flat is because this aperture rotates. If you have a large piece kind of jutting out and you catch it as it comes around, it can torque your ship off at an angle. So that's just something you want to be a little bit careful about. But if you see down in the bottom right there, our mass is increasing. That is a good sign. So let's make sure we've got a stable spot. Looks okay. Let's just check inside, and there you are. Apparently our uranium is flowing directly into the cockpit. That's cool. It's not like we're vulnerable to radiation or anything like that. Yeah, here's my 10 reactors. They're small, okay? They fit into the design. I like it that way. Just, you know, that's just how it is. It seems like drill 6 and drill 5, there's not much action, but we haven't really immersed into the material yet, so let's not be too quick to judge. And I think we're doing pretty good here. Let's just pop out, go to our F8 camera. Yeah. That looks pretty good, guys. We're mining away. I think we're doing all right. Nothing's breaking. Collecting our stuff. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Well, I'm gonna fill up the old ship, and I will bring you back when we are ready to take a flight back over to the station. And there we have it, my friends. Check this out. A nice, relatively smooth hole bored straight through this uranium deposit. The ship is not full, but I am not bothered by that. We have, let's see, 27,000, 288,000, and 87.6 thousand kilograms. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Let's bring our ship back. We'll drop our stuff off. Hang on. Where is my... There we go. There she is. We'll fly her over. We'll drop off what we've got. And we're gonna call it a day. Yeah, that was successful. I can't express my happiness really enough. That was quite a bit of work getting this thing set up, but man, she works like a charm, and I am so glad that it works as well as it. Are we not? Okay. Lesson 1. Always set yourself up with enough braking thrust to negate your forward momentum from your forward thrust. We went right past it. Alright, let's take it a little bit slower in. We're very heavy. We gotta keep that in mind. Approaching. We'll slow it down a little bit. Oh, another simple tip for you guys. when you're flying up on an object, something that you've built and whatnot, always a good idea to aim off to the side of it. That way, if you do make a mistake and you come at it too hot, you can fly right past and then just take another swing at it. If you pointed right at it, you're gonna smash full on into it and have a total disaster. All right, let's see if we can bring her in nice and gentle. We are heavy, gotta keep that in mind. Yeah, successful day. Awesome build. I am really pleased with how it turned out. I think it looks great. It totally functions exactly the way that I would hope that it would. And we have a ton of uranium. That's going to keep us processing for some time. It's going to keep us with more than enough energy to get all the stuff that we need to get done. And granted, we do have a lot of uranium that's already been processed as it is, but no shame in having more. And once we really add all of our thrusters onto the station here, we're going to be using that stuff up. So it'll be good to have some extra stuff in store. But I got to thank you guys for watching. That's going to be it for me today. And I very much hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. Always appreciated. Helps the channel out a lot. But that's going to be it. Thanks so much for coming by, guys. This has been Ragnar. I'll catch you in the next episode.